Go.
Good morning. I'm going to talk about your thoughts create your reality. What we'll cover in this presentation, we're going to do first, I'm going to do an introduction, obviously, just tell you a little bit about myself. I'm going to explain to you how our thoughts create our reality, the two ways of thinking and how they affect your life, and how to create a mind movie to help you become the person you'd like to be in any situation. And then we're going to finish with questions and answers. And I'm just going to give you a handout, let you pass it around there, just so you can follow what I'm doing, because probably what I'm going to talk about is probably something you wouldn't be maybe familiar with. So just to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm Paula O'Sullivan. I'm a hypnotherapist, a Reiki practitioner, recently qualified life coach. I'm also an author, among other things. I'm a bit of an entrepreneur. I'm currently writing my second book, and it's called Climbing Out of the Abyss, Coping with Life, Depression and Illness. And you can read it for free, as I write it in parts, and it's on my blog at paulaosullivan@wordpress.com, and that's a link on the handout I gave you there as well. I became aware, just to give you a little bit of background about this, because this is a bit of a woo-woo subject, I became aware of how our thoughts create our reality back in 2009, after I developed an MS-type illness. The symptoms were many and varied, and included severe migraines, chronic fatigue, muscle pain, weakness, numbness, tremor, palpitations, memory loss, and many, many more. The MRIs I have many tests. The MRIs showed that my brain was aging like an elderly person's. They said it was kind of like looking like it was about 70-year-olds. The bone scan showed I was prematurely aging. Other tests showed different signs, arthritis, blood clotting issues. I was prematurely aging. It also said that I was developing epilepsy, and I was only 44 years of age at that time. That's 9 years ago. I wasn't getting any answers as I went through the tests. I was beginning to feel like I was a bit of a crazy person, and I wasn't getting the answers about the cause or how I could get better. And I couldn't even get a lumbar puncture just to confirm the diagnosis because my blood had stopped clotting properly. So I had a crazy idea in the middle of all this. I might have been contributing it somehow because I'd been through an awful lot of stress. I'd been holding on to a lot of anger and resentment from childhood and through a marriage and everything like that I was at the time. So long story short, I explored stress, hypnosis, NLP, meditation, mindfulness, other things as well. And the symptoms all disappeared within 3 months of actually putting some of these things into practice. And that blew me away. To me, that was just an amazing thing. I couldn't believe that. It gave me a bit of empowerment. Now, the blood sorted itself out within 8 months. So like within the 8 months, everything had disappeared. And I've had no symptoms for the last 9 years. Now, I thought that was kind of amazing. And I was going, if this is possible, what else could you do with this, you know? So let me explain a little bit. Your mind is a garden. Your thoughts are the seeds. You can plant flowers, or you can plant weeds. Now, some people think this is a little woo-woo, but let's examine this more closely and see if it's true. The chair that you sit in, the clothes that you wear, the car that you drive in, the style of your hair, your computer, your phone, and even your TV. How do you think that they came to be? Whether you're joyful or happy or sad, just think back to the thoughts that you've had. And if you do this, it'll be easy to see that it's your thoughts that create your reality. Now, I know I sound simplistic. It's almost mundane. But if you look at your life, you'll see it's the same. We create with our thoughts in the same way, you see. Your relationships, your partner or none, the job that you work at, the things that you've done, whether your life is a pain or perhaps filled with fun. Thoughts create things. We reap what we sow. Let's choose our thoughts more wisely, now that we know. Everything begins with a thought, which if acted upon, will create something in your life. And we can easily understand that thoughts create things like computers and phones and all this kind of thing. But our lives are also a result of the thoughts we've had and the actions we take. We are now, today, where we are. This all began with a thought. Everywhere you are with your relationships and everything, it began with a thought somewhere which you acted upon, and that's what's creating your reality. Most of us don't want this kind of responsibility. It's a bit tough on us. We prefer to praise or blame someone else for why we're feeling happy or sad, or the way we're in the situation we're in. But our thoughts do create our reality. As we become more aware of this, we can see that every thought which is acted upon is a choice which will have a consequence of some kind. And will either bring us nearer or further away from peace and happiness. So to be conscious creative of our lives, we start observing our thoughts. And we start wondering what effect they might have on us and those around us. So now can we understand that the quality of our lives depend on the quality of our thoughts and the attitudes that we have? Does that make sense? I know it's probably a bit strange kind of thing to throw at you, but just that everything is linked. We can see that a car was created in somebody's mind first, and then an action was taken, and then that was created. But most of us don't see the relevance of that in our lives. The thought that brought you all here onto this course. You know, you could have easily have thought, well, this, maybe I'm not good enough, I won't try for that. Each thought leads to something. So in doing that, once we become aware of this, we can start creating our lives a little bit better and creating what we do want in our lives, So if you're all well and happy and content, and the people you are connected with are not in constant conflict with you, carry on, you've got it sorted. But for most of us, that's not necessarily true. So we can actually change this, and usually it's linked in with our beliefs. And a belief is just a thought you keep thinking over and over. A belief becomes a habit, and that affects our behaviours and the actions we take. So if your life is not okay, maybe you could, if you wanted to follow on, this is a very short talk, you can follow on a bit more about your core beliefs and find out where you feel good enough or not good enough, and these are the things that are affecting your life. I've written about them in part 13 of Climbing Out the Abyss, and it's available on my blog, and it's free as I'm writing this book. So I just want to share to you about the two ways of thinking. Now, just one little brief thing. We cannot control our thoughts. You drive yourself mad trying to control your thoughts. They're going to keep coming at you anyway, but you can stop them controlling you. And that's a place of empowerment that I discovered. So I just wanted to share with you, there's two ways of thinking. Most of us are thinking, I'm being very simplistic here, okay? That's the worst way of thinking. Most of us think this way. And it's how most of us think by default. The thoughts are usually focused in the past, or they're focused in the future. And these are two areas where we actually have no control over. There's nothing we can change about the past, and there's not really an awful lot we can do about the future because it hasn't actually happened yet. So we focus on what has gone wrong or will go wrong with this way of thinking, mostly. We're usually focused on the negative. We focus on what we don't have, and we play pictures in our minds of being the victims. And we can't see ourselves coping with something, or we can't see ourselves doing something. So we talk ourselves out of something before we've even begun. This leads to worries and fears, and our mind becomes trapped in a circle of thoughts and can't provide solutions for us. So we find ourselves, we're stuck in a rut. If you think of a rut is just a record of unhelpful thoughts, an RUT. It's all to do with thoughts. So then the best way, I'm being simplistic, the best way of thinking then is we shift our thoughts to focus on the present moment. Because the present moment is only in the here and now that we can actually choose our actions and respond to life's challenges. Not yesterday and not tomorrow, only just now, today is the only time we actually have any control over anything. So we focus on what we actually do have right now. We focus on what is actually going right. We focus on how we would like to see ourselves coping. It's just a shift of thoughts from what the other way is. How do I want to be in a situation? And we practice imagining how we can be strong survivors. How can I cope? You shift your thinking. It opens your mind and it helps you to provide solutions for you. It gets you out of the rut by having helpful thoughts. Does that kind of make sense? So instead of being in the worrying way, you're fearful about, I don't know how I'll cope, or I can't see myself doing something. So how would I like to see myself doing something, and how would I like to feel in this new situation? So how we do this, you're thinking those thoughts. We use a mind movie to do this, and this is the part I'm going to actually show you how to do yourself, that you can actually take into your life. Most of us play disaster movies in our minds. Our imagination runs riot, creating scenes and feelings that make us feel powerless and unable to cope. So as within, so without. What we practice in our minds becomes the script that we act on in our everyday lives. We're always practicing something in our minds, even if it's how we don't want to be. But with the mind movie, we practice how we do want to be. So if you can see it or imagine it in your mind, then you're already halfway there. A lot of really successful people use this visualized technique. Tiger Woods, the golfer, and Conor McGregor are two people that just come to mind at the moment, and he talks an awful lot about the law of attraction. Sorry, I lost my... How to mess up.
Just move it forward there.
Sorry about that, folks. So let's begin. I'm going to show you this. This is a very powerful visualized technique, and it's just going to bring you into, in your mind, a mind movie where you can actually create a situation where you'd like to be in your life. Okay? So if you're ready, I'll just get you to close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. And just start breathing in nice and slow. And breathing out nice and slow. So breathing in a sense of calmness. And breathing out all your worries and cares, just letting them go, and just doing that really slowly. Breathing in and just breathing out. And I'd like you to imagine that you're going into your own private movie theatre. You're on your own and you're perfectly safe in there. Just imagine it as best you can. Not everybody can put pictures in your mind. Whatever your mind gives to you is perfectly okay. There's no right or wrong way to do this. So you're finding a seat and you're sitting down and you're looking up at the screen. And on the screen, on freeze frame, is a scene that you'd like to be better in. It's a scene from your life, or maybe a future scene, but something you'd like to feel better in or feel more confident in. And I'd like you to think about how you do want to be in this situation. How do you want to feel? What way do you want to be dressed? What do you want to be saying? What do you want to hear? Feeling the feelings you'd like to feel. And when you're ready, I'd like you to imagine pressing play and see this movie playing through, acting the way you'd like to act. Imagining yourself as you'd like to be in this situation. Feeling the feelings you'd like to feel. Hearing the things you'd like to hear. Saying the things you'd like to say. Acting it through as you would like it to be. And then just pressing pause for a moment. Thinking about what you could do better, because this takes a little bit of practice. We're not used to doing this kind of thing. Really winding it back really, really fast, right back to the beginning. With any changes in mind, pressing play again. Imagining yourself acting the way you'd like to act. Seeing yourself in this situation exactly as you would like to see yourself. Feeling the feelings you'd like to feel. Hearing the things you'd like to hear. Seeing the things you'd like to see. And pressing pause. We're just going to do this 3 times, so we have one more time to do it. Thinking of any changes, anything you can improve upon, and rewinding it back really, really fast, right back to the beginning. With any changes in mind, we're just going to do it one more time. Play acting this the way you would like to be in this situation. Feeling the feelings you'd like to feel. Hearing the things you'd like to hear. Seeing yourself the way you would like to be. Imagining it as best you can. And when you're ready, just press save. And you can open your eyes. Go back into the room. You can incorporate this anytime you want. You can improve upon it. You can come back and just add to it. But literally, we are play acting all the time in our minds. So you can use this to actually become the person you want to be in any situation. And I've done this in my own life, and I keep continuing to do it as well. And I find it very, very powerful. And any successful people are using this. So that's kind of it. Hopefully now you'll all have a better understanding of how your thoughts create your reality, or the little bit that I could share in this session. And you'll know about the 2 ways of thinking and how to create a mind movie visualization. So has anybody any questions?
Yeah, sorry. How frequently would you recommend doing a mind movie?
I practice it regularly.
Mm.
I think everything, even your thoughts, if you become aware of your thoughts all the time, the more aware you can become, the more you can say, right, is this thought serving me? Is it bringing me towards happiness? Or is it bringing me back into misery or depression? The same with the mind movie. Just keep doing it. Practice makes perfect with all of these things. And the more you practice something, it's like how you build confidence with anything. You know, I mean, we're really confident at being fearful and thinking about how things could go wrong, but that takes a little bit of practice to do it in the opposite direction, you know?
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I'll hand out a survey form if that's okay. There's only 3 there, so if you want to just choose who wants to do that. Thanks very